Hi, this is Thunderbear of the Courage Family, and this is an introduction to the subject of flat Earth. I'd like to start off with some flat Earth arguments. The first argument concerns oil pipelines. These pipelines go for miles upon miles, and there's no deviation. They do not take into account the curvature of the Earth, because the Earth has no curvature to it. You can look up these pipelines yourself and see that they are like this, that they do go for miles and miles, and there just simply is no curvature. To me, this is a slam dunk argument. But let's move on to a few others. There is also the flatness of large pieces of land like Florida. Florida has been proven to be incredibly flat. There is no curvature to the state of Florida. Professionals have conducted these tests to see how flat Florida is. Now, I'm not really speaking about the terrain of Florida. I'm speaking about the land in and of itself, how there just simply is no curvature to it. All right. It is flat. So let's go on to some other things, like, for example, the astronauts. Okay. When the astronauts go out on their spacewalks, do they ever take their camera and turn around 360 degrees, letting you have a really great look at space? No, they don't. The question is, if you were an astronaut and you were out there with a camera, wouldn't be one of the first things that you would want to do, the very first human thing that you would want to do, aside from panic, okay, is turn that thing around 360 degrees and have a nice long look at where you're at. This is human nature. Question: why don't the astronauts do something that's natural? Also, what about the lack of photographs of the Earth? There aren't that many photographs of the Earth, and the vast majority of them are CGI. Not all of them. Some photographs were taken before CGI became a thing. But those were actually literally cut and paste, as in they took a photograph of what I presume to be a model and pasted it into the background, like one of the photos of the Earth from the moon. That photograph, by the way, what can you really say about it? I mean, the Earth, according to NASA, the Earth is 6 times larger than the moon. And those astronauts are standing up there on the moon, and they're looking back at the Earth, and the Earth looks about the size of the moon. The moon looks from the Earth, that is. It looks the same size. It doesn't look 6 times bigger in the sky. There are a lot of problems with those photographs. There are a lot of problems with NASA in general. Look at the way the astronauts behave when they supposedly come back from space, especially on the Apollo missions. They should have been incredibly excited. I know, look, if I was one of those astronauts and I actually did go out into space and I went to the moon and I came back, I'd practically be jumping up and down. I'd be saying, hey, guys, this experience that I had, it's a wonderful experience, and hey, this is what I saw, this is what I did. It was really so cool. But we just don't get that from these astronauts. And why not? Why do they look so sad? Why do they look so depressed? Coming back from the moon, they look as if someone gave them some really bad news. And I think that bad news was, hey, we're not sending you to the moon. It's a hoax. That's all it is, just a giant hoax. So, anyway, yeah, you add all of that in about the astronauts and the NASA, and they're constantly faking things. You can see a lot of green screen anomalies when they supposedly do live feeds from the ISS. The ISS is a whole nother thing as well, obviously. There's no machine shop on board. Any submariner will tell you that if you're going to be on board a ship that is supposed to be self-sufficient for long periods of time, you have to have a machine shop. They're running that machine shop basically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There is no machine shop on board the ISS. There have been numerous subject matter experts testifying that the ISS simply has to be a hoax. It cannot be real. You have experts that are experts in like vacuums and seals, for example, industrial experts. They engineer these things for a living, and they will tell you there is no seal that exists that would allow life aboard the ISS in what is supposed to be a vacuum of space. And of course, that's a whole other thing right there, the vacuum of space. If space actually is a vacuum, why isn't our atmosphere sucked off? The scientists will say, well, gravity holds the atmosphere in. That's absurd. That is totally absurd. They say that the atmosphere is glued to the planet. Well, you look outside and you see clouds moving. Sometimes they're pretty stationary. Like today, I'm looking out the window right now. They don't seem to be moving today. Really thick clouds, though. It's a marine layer. But yeah, a lot of days you'll look out and you'll see clouds moving, and you'll see butterflies floating through the air, flying through the air, whatever, birds flying through the air. And gravity is supposed to be sticking everything to the planet, moving everything along with the surface of the planet. It just doesn't make any sense. Gravity that strong, that powerful, a force that powerful, would mean that no life, as far as I know, no life could ever exist on the surface of the Earth, because it'd be squashed. You might possibly have amoebas, maybe, but somehow I doubt it. Even under such tremendous force, I don't think even an amoeba would be able to move anywhere. So yeah. There's lots of evidence. We have so much evidence, and I don't want to go into all of it right now. I wanted to keep this really short. This is more or less a demo for Flat Earth Radio Live, so I do want to keep it short, but I will go over a few other items here of proof, as it were. Well, granted, some of it's hearsay. Admiral Byrd, for example, when he went on the television back in, I believe it was like 1954 or something like that, or 57 or something, I forgot, but it doesn't matter, you can look that up. Anyway, when he went on there, and he said that there was a land beyond the pole, beyond the South Pole, is what he was referring to. And this land was as big as the United States, and no one was on it. That right there. Okay, well, you can say, well, they're hiding land. But the thing is, how can you hide land on a globe like this when the circumference is supposedly already known? When we have airplanes, when we've had all this time, and that land has not been really truly made publicly known. I'm sure he was on the television, but how many people had televisions back then? It's and why isn't the government coming forward and saying, yes, here's this land? Why wasn't it done officially? I guess is my question. There was no official announcement. Now, you could just say that Admiral Byrd was old and he didn't know what he's talking about, but I'm getting up in years, and that's just, it's absurd. You say, what, he's senile? No, I don't think so. He seemed quite coherent, as a matter of fact. Of course, he did say beyond the pole. Well, I think the reason why he said beyond the pole was because he didn't want to come out with the whole flat earth thing right then and there. He wanted everyone to think about it. He wanted everyone to grab their globes and say, wait a second, it's on the other side of the pole. Well, the only other land that's on the other side of the pole, since they left out from South America, I'm assuming anyway, is Africa. Well, Africa is inhabited. He's talking about a land that's not inhabited by anyone, and also wealthy, a lot of resources, just huge amounts of resources, coal and oil, stuff that they really wanted back then in primitive times. Of course, I don't think that's what we really want or need anymore. We have technology now that can allow us to generate power that is through other means. Most of that technology is kind of hidden away, though. But it will come out. So, yeah. But still, the very fact that all these resources were there and we weren't really made aware of it. The only way that external land could be there is on a flat earth. In fact, the flat earth should be a lot larger in the so-called southern hemisphere than on a globe. So yeah, a lot of land could be hidden down there. Even land that I suspect they call Antarctica. And yeah, I think there is probably a small continent down there. Okay, or actually out there, I should say. On a flat earth, it's like a plate. So you go out. From the center, south is going away from the center. Okay, so you go out. So yeah, there's a lot more area down there. So yeah, I do believe there's land down there as well. And then of course there's the ice wall. Now, I really don't know if the ice wall goes all the way around and holds everything in. A lot of flat earthers think that, and maybe that is the case, but I've seen other flat earth models that indicate that the ice wall doesn't go quite all the way around, that there are ways, passages that is, through. And it's possible, I suppose. I don't really know. I suspect that this world that we live in is actually a computer simulation, or a dream in the mind of God, or a dream in the mind of soul, or something. But yeah, a simulation. In that case, well, a lot of things could be true, even things that are contradictory. And so, yeah, fine, we don't know everything there is to know about this flat Earth. I don't even know how the sun works. The sun is something that's very mysterious. It's certainly small, it's certainly local, and there may be more than one. It may not even be a physical object. There's a lot of speculation in the community that it is not a physical object at all. Um, I just don't know. I don't have enough data to work with. And that's part of the problem with the flat earth community is, as a whole, we just don't have enough data yet. There are a lot of members in the flat earth community that believe that there's a firmament or dome over our earth. Probably so. I cannot 100% with 100% certainty say that there is. However, weather patterns indicate that there probably is, although I don't know for certain. There's another model of the flat earth that would give another explanation for the weather patterns. So anyway, there's another proof that we have video from high altitudes that is not CGI. It is not curved lenses, fisheye lenses or whatever, like GoPro cameras and stuff have. It's just a regular camera lens, and it shows flat. Okay, all the GoPro cameras and curved fisheye lenses or whatever, they of course show curves, but they show the curvature of the Earth before they even take off, which of course simply doesn't exist. It's just a camera artifact. That's all it is, or lens artifact, I should say. Those curves, that curvature of the Earth that they show, well, when the camera moves, you'll see that the curvature itself moves, so it goes. It's kind of, in a way, it's kind of almost like a bird flapping its wings, the way that curvature moves. So yeah, we have a lot of proof. We don't have everything though. That's something for the future, definitely. Now, speaking of the future, I have a few thoughts about the future of society. That is, when this all becomes truly public, and I know it will. I know it will go mainstream. There are some in the flat earth community that will disagree with that, but eventually it's got to. It's a lot like the court stuff that I do. That stuff is getting out fast. I am totally surprised by the number of people that actually know about the whole legal person thing and law and the fake courts and birth certificates and stuff like that. So if that stuff is coming close to, might as well be mainstream, well, flat earth, I think, will come close to that pretty soon. And yeah, eventually all of it will go mainstream. We'll eventually get rid of these fake governments, or what I call fake governments, and we will institute real governments with real laws, with real courts, and we'll have a lot to explore. We'll have so much, such a great expansion of knowledge and technology as well. Now, it's always possible that we will go through bad times as well because of, whatever, wars or whatever may happen. Although you can make an argument that our society is getting more peaceful, actually. It may not seem that way because of the news, but most of the news is just fake. especially in the mainstream news, almost every bit of the mainstream news is just totally made up, totally fake. But yeah, the statistics, you look at the actual crime statistics, crime is going down, and it continues to go down. And you got signs of real true hope, like in Iceland, for example. Their economy was in the toilet. Their economy was totally wrecked. And what did they do? They got rid of their banks, and they brought in new types of banks. And within 1 year, everything turned around for them. Now, that's not to say everything became perfect. Yeah, I don't expect perfection, obviously. But yeah, so much turned around for them. All we need to do is take all these solutions that are already available to us. For example, I have my proposed constitution for my Starhide tribe. I have my 7 laws as well for the Starhide tribe. I don't think we need any more than 7 laws. If we have a society where we have only 7 laws, or maybe 8 or 9 or 10, maybe because I could have missed something, whatever, fine. Let's say 10 or less. If we have a society where we have 10 or less laws, instead of the 6 million plus or 60 million plus codes and statutes, that are all over the place, instead of all that, I have 10 or less laws. So we know what the laws are, and we have real courts, so police officers wouldn't be killing people, just randomly and just, getting away with it like they are now, and kidnapping them. That's what they do. The police never really lawfully arrest anyone. It's always a unlawful kidnapping. Anyway, if we have real courts, real laws, we can put a stop to all of that. We can have a much more peaceful society. If we have real government would be a service. Real government would not be a master. It would be a servant. I know that it may be a troublesome servant from time to time, but it will still be a servant. That is what we need. We need we need all of that, really. Now, technology will take us pretty far as well. I can see a time when our computers will be basically headbands that we will wear, and they'll have like a heads-up display, as it were, and they'll have a little connection so we can hear, and it'll be our communications devices as well, and we can hopefully overcome the little problem of radio waves and stuff that we have now with our smartphones. Hopefully we can have maybe like quantum communications, totally instantaneous communications, because it's utilizing quantum entanglement. I can see that. I can see where not too many people would actually even want to own a car. As a matter of fact, we already have cars now that are kind of like rental cars almost. I guess I haven't really messed with them or anything, so I haven't even looked into them that well. But yeah, I think those little car-to-go things, or whatever they call them, those cars that say car-to-go, I think those are like rental cars or whatever that you can just get in and go someplace in, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, imagine like a little rental car that you call to your location, and it just arrives, and it's kind of like a taxi, but no driver there, And you just get in, and tell the car your destination, and the car will just take you where you want to go. Yeah, and in fact, with all the metamaterials and stuff we have, it'd be really cool. I kind of imagine calling up a car using my headband computer, and when the car arrives, let's say the car is cherry red color, and I tell the car, no, I want you to be metallic midnight blue, and the car changes color, changes to metallic midnight blue. Seats that automatically configure to you when you get in. Of course, that's already available. That technology is already available, as well as automatic seat belts and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, and imagine all these cars maybe linked into a central control grid that will allow them to control traffic. Of course, we've already seen this kind of thing in movies. There was a Tom Cruise movie. I can't think of the name of it. I actually saw it and I read the book that it was based on, which wasn't as good as the movie, by the way. Usually books are way better than the movie, but this book was written quite a long time ago. I forgot what the name of the movie is, but it's no big deal. Oh, Minority Report, that's it. Yeah, the book kind of sucked, actually. But yeah, you see this stuff in Minority Report. Now, granted, that kind of technology could lead to something dystopian, but probably not. Not if we, the peoples, actually own our own government. That is to say that we could produce the document and say like me, for example, I can produce something that says I have a share in this government. Okay. And if we had real courts, no offices are allowed in court. In other words, like the Queen of England, for example, if I wanted to bring the Queen of England into a real court of record, well, I'd be bringing Elizabeth Windsor in, not the Queen of England, because the Queen of England is a title. It is nothing but a fictional entity. Elizabeth Windsor, she holds that title of Queen of England. So yeah, I can bring her in. Man versus woman in this case. Or, well, actually there's a lot of speculation that she's not actually a woman, she's something else. Who knows, whatever. I don't really care, I'm just using it as an example. So yeah, if we have it so where we have these real courts, when we have accountability, we can hold any office holder accountable, and that fact could be written into the contract, the constitution for the new government. We have a wonderful opportunity with California splitting, or maybe splitting, into 3 different nations. We have a wonderful opportunity to create a brand new government. Think about that for a moment. If we do create a brand new government, have a brand new constitution, have just the 7 laws, or maybe 8, 9, or 10, whatever. If I've missed something, fine. If we do this, and we open things up, and we really ask the tough questions of, hey, is this Earth a planet spinning through space, or is it some infinite plane? Is it computer simulation? Whatever. The important thing is to ask these questions and get information out there. All right. If we do all this stuff and more, all right, we could have a really good future. Think about that. Act now, if possible. Seriously. Anyway, I'm going to leave my email address, and it's Okay, it's thunder.bear.courage@gmail.com. Email me if you want more information. I have my How to Beat the Courts document. And yeah, it has information on Flat Earth as well. Okay. And yeah, this is this is my very first podcast here, and I guess well, it's not too bad. It's not too bad at all. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and end it now, and everyone have a nice day. Bye.